All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Course Creator Community Podcast. I am super excited because we've got a guest this week all the way from Europe. I don't do many European podcasts because the time difference is just so different. I'm an early bird and it's, the times are bad. But for this person here, it's such a hot topic that I'm like, you know what? I'm staying up past my work curfew to do this podcast here. A little bit about this person. Her specialty is helping course creators build high converting quizzes. She's based over there in France, I believe, but she's English. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only Miss Kylie Carlson from the Quiz Funnel Formula. Kylie, how are you?
Oh, what a lovely intro. Thank you so much. I'm good. And yes, it is early in the morning here, but I'm like you, I'm an early bird as well. So it's all good.
Awesome. And just to confirm, I should have checked this before. Kylie Lang or Kylie Carlson? Because your Zoom says one, your Facebook says the other.
Yeah, no, I am Lang because I'm now embracing my married name. It's only taken me about 4 years, but I finally got around to it. So
Awesome.
I am actually now going by the name of Kylie Lang, but not everything is I've remembered to change. So it's all good.
All good. I'll title this episode Kylie Lang anyway.
Thank you.
All right, Kylie, I like to start all my podcasts off with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Have you got one for us?
Sure. Of course. I think my favorite one, and this is one I share pretty much with all my students and all my audience, is done is better than perfect. I think we all procrastinate so much over so many things. And I am not a procrastinator. I'm kind of the opposite. So this absolutely and completely sums me up. Done is definitely better than perfect.
Yes, I love that one myself. And it's not even like, because it's kind of like the way I look at that, I'm 30 something years old and I'm not perfect at anything. So if I waited to get something perfect, I'm going to be spending 30 years trying to perfect that thing. And it's not going to be helping anyone. Whereas if I just get it done, okay, it's not perfect, but I'm going to be helping people along the way, which is better than perfect. So
definitely. And as course creators, I see this all the time. And one of the ways we put this into practice is when you launch a course, you don't have to have it fully written and fully perfect to launch it. You actually just need to have that first module done and launch it. Get it out there. Done is better than perfect. And then do it as you go along. It's one of the things I've always taught people to do is just get it out there. You can course correct on the way. You can make your tweaks. You can test on the way, but just get it done. Don't hold yourself back.
Agree. And I'll expand on that as well. I think because especially with course creation, your first course is going to be bad either way. If you spend, let's say you spend a year, right, which most course creators do, from idea to end is at least a year. You spend a year doing it, and then you realize it's not as good as what it should be. You're like, I got to change this, and I've got to redo that, and people want this, and you've spent a year, you've wasted a year. I mean, you've learned something, so it's not horrible, but like you've wasted a year. What would be better is do that in 3 months, right? And then you learn and then improve it there. So it's like I think they're two. If you look at it in two different ways, it's like, okay, spend a year to get it perfect, right? Or do it in 3 months and then fix it up in 3 months and then fix it up in 3 months and then fix it up in 3 months. Either way, you're at a year either way, but I guarantee that person that did it in 3 months is going to be so much further ahead than the person that did it in 12 because they've essentially got 4 versions of it out there, whereas that person that tried to be perfect has just got their first one.
Well, can I tell you a little story?
Please.
So I have a digital course company, which is why I moved on to quizzes. And I started it 13 years ago in Australia because I was living in Melbourne at the time. I did live in Melbourne for 10 years. And my very first course was a wedding planning course. And we won't go into the details as to why, but it was before the digital revolution. So this course was being sent out in an A4 folder through Australia Post after having gone and got it printed to Officeworks. Now, the thing is, when I decided to write this course, I'd never written a course before in my life. I just decided this was what I was going to do. 2 months into writing it, I was bored senseless, no motivation whatsoever. So I thought, Kylie, how can you sell this thing? How can you motivate yourself to do it? I thought, I need some students. So I went out and I sold it. And with just 2 modules completed, I had 10 students, and this grew as I was going along. As they were finishing one module, I was finishing the next one for them. And this is how it went on. And that's how I completed my first course. And that was 13 years ago. I'm still going. That digital course company is still running. It kind of runs itself, and they wheel me out every now and again for webinars. But it's still going. It's still doing well. And it's now 10 courses down the line. So if ever I could believe in a mantra, done is better than perfect, that is actually a living example of that happening. I'd never done it before. I wasn't going to hold myself back, but I needed some motivation to get going. So did the best thing possible, sold it, got students on it, and you'll be amazed how much that motivates you to get going, I can tell you.
100%. I think it's a great message for course creators on a couple different things. Yes, it motivates you to get going. I also find it more fun. I hate my most hated thing is actually creating those PowerPoints and recording in front of no one. That's what I do as well. I'm like, all right, I got a course. I got no motivation. I just got to sell this, and then I'll teach it live to people. It's just, for me anyway, so much more, many different things. It's like, okay, now you've actually got to do it. Now you've got some accountability. I like doing it live as well. So it's like, okay, because it's like, now it's like, all right, from 12 p.m. Monday, I got to have this thing ready, so I got to do the slides beforehand, and then 12 p.m. I know I'm going to get it done. So it's a nice deadline, but it's not a crazy deadline. It's not like, all right, you're going to have this 12 module course finished by Monday. It's not that.
No, and you have to be realistic as well. You can't set yourself unrealistic goals. You have to allow yourself a little bit of leeway, but like you said, you don't have to have all 12 done all at once, especially if you're doing it like you do one a week. And if you know what, if you know your stuff, if you're an expert in your given topic, it's actually not that difficult to talk about. It's more about formulating the ideas than anything else.
Yes, I agree. Awesome. All right. Well, good little tangent there. Let's speak about quizzes. It's a hot topic. I hear about them all the time. I know absolutely nothing, Kylie. I know nothing about. Yeah, nothing. So this will be a good education experience for me. Let's start with the why. Before we even get to how to set it up, what do you do, yada, yada, yada. Why would you do a quiz? Is it to get leads? Is it to get sales? Do we do it organic? Do we do it paid? What can you tell me about the why about quizzes? Why would it be a good idea for a course creator to do your free bootcamp, which is coming up, and we'll put the link in the show notes. But why would a course creator get a quiz together?
Okay, so you touched on a lot of things there. I'm going to start off with the why behind a quiz over every other lead magnet out there, because as course creators, we all know you've got to have one of those really unsexy things called a lead magnet. It's just what it is. But what's happened is over the last couple of years, since we've all been locked up, everybody's gone online. And we've now got really, really used to seeing freebies thrown at us from pretty much every single site you go on to. There's always a checklist, a guide, a cheat sheet, a swipe file, they're just everywhere. And it's almost becoming harder now to give something away for free than it is to actually sell something of value.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
It really has started to happen. And lead magnets as PDF, something that's static, passive, whatever you want to call it, just aren't hitting the mark anymore because they're not holding people's attention. So this is where quizzes come in. Quizzes, they're interactive, they're fun, they're quick. They can give you an instant win, they can give you value, they can segment, and they have high conversion rates. So I'll go into each of those in a little bit more detail so you understand why. So think about the last time you were on Facebook, how many times have you got waylaid by something where it says, I mean, for me, this would work. What Harry Potter house would you be in? Or what
Squid
Friends
Games
character are you? What Game of Thrones character?
Yes, Game of Thrones. Yeah. I'm always Jon Snow. I wish, anyway. I'm usually Theon, they give me.
There you go, see? But you know why we do that? Because we, as humans, we have this thirst for self-knowledge. So we want to find out something about ourselves. So a quiz allows you to do that. So I want you to, having just told you about the BuzzFeed style quizzes, that's not the type of quiz you want to create for your business, because a BuzzFeed quiz is literally all about eyeballs. There's no connection, there's no audience building, there's no nurturing, there's no giving of value at the end of it, there's no results that really give you something meaningful. It's just, hey, you're in Gryffindor or whatever, or you're Jon Snow, whatever it might be. So with these types of quizzes, what we're doing is not only are we teaching our audience about themselves, we are learning about our audience too. So you show me another lead magnet that teaches you about your audience. So there is this information gathering that goes on within a quiz on both sides, but only if you do your questions properly. And we'll talk about questions in a moment. But that's one of the reasons why quizzes are so popular. And if you go back even further, when we used to do this thing called picking up a magazine, a real live magazine, and actually look through it, there'd be quizzes in there. And we would take those quizzes because we couldn't help it. So they're ingrained into us. So they work really, really well. But the idea behind them is that you want to be able to do super targeted marketing. Now, as a course creator, when we launch our course, isn't it easier to launch it to a warm audience rather than a cold audience?
Oh, yes.
And what a quiz does, when you've written it and you've tested it, it's one of those things that goes on autopilot. So it's an evergreen thing that just, it can keep going in the background all the time, teaching you more and more about your audience. But as you're nurturing them, because you found out this information about them. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are doing a course all about how to get visible. And you know that the overriding question that your audience has is, how do I get visible? How do I get myself out there? Now, that's a really generic question, but your results are going to break that question down into more detailed segments of what might be stopping somebody from getting visible. So it might be, you've got this ideal client who says, I want to get visible. The reason I'm not getting visible is because I've got no confidence, or I don't know what to say. So there's going to be different things that are stopping that person from moving forward. And that's what you tackle in the results. So it gets very personal. And through the questions you ask, you're going to know which outcome is going to be relevant to that person. Now, the clever part of this comes in the fact that this information can then be exported or mapped across into whatever CRM you're using. Now, your CRM is obviously where you send out your emails. It's going to be your email platform. So it could be ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Infusionsoft, whatever you use. And you are going to map that information across into that platform and then start using that information back at the person who took it. Now, what that's doing is it's making them feel seen. It's making them feel heard. It's making them feel like you actually get them and you're not just sending out this generic email that goes out to every single person that took the quiz. You're getting super specific with them. It also means when you tag them into different outcomes, you could put up a tag and say, right, I've got this blog post that is absolutely relevant to people that are lacking in confidence, for example, and you only send that information out to them. You might have another one that talks about how you can find out what your topics of expertise are and how you can talk to people about different things. You'd send that out to the people who were interested in that type of information. So by getting really targeted, you are really warming your audience up. You are building that know, like, trust factor. You are getting them to the point where they are much more willing to convert because you've given them value. Now, when it comes to your results, you've got to be really careful because you don't want to shoot them down in flames and make them feel like crap when they realize that, oh my God, I've got no confidence, I'm this, that, and the other. No, you need to identify where the issue lies, but then empower them a little bit, make them feel that actually this is something that can be overcome. And here are some steps to help you overcome that. So it's about giving them a quick win. It's not about saving the world. It's not about giving them everything all at once. It's a quick win. So what your quiz is doing is it's giving them the what, but not the how. The how is your paid product, your course. That's what the how is. So you give them a couple of really easy wins that they can do the minute they've got their results. Then you continue that nurture process by very value-driven emails that actually talk to their specific pain point. So this is the value of quizzes. This is why quizzes work so well above every other lead magnet out there. And we've not even spoken about conversion rates. So conversion rates for a lot of lead magnets tend to be between 25 to 30% is a good conversion rate for a lead magnet.
Someone lands on the page and yep.
Absolutely. So they get to your landing page and they look at it and they go, nah, can't be bothered. Or they look at it and go, oh, yes, please. Conversion rates there tend to be between 25 to 30%. With the quiz, you don't take their email address until they've done all the questions, by which time, if you've done this well, they're so excited, they want to know what their results are. So the conversion rate, one we did recently, their conversion rate is up at 67%. It's insane.
Wow. Yeah. Because you've done all that work. It's like, man, I've answered all these questions. It's almost a waste if I don't give you my email now.
Yeah, exactly. If you've done your job properly.
Yeah.
So that works really well. And then you asked me a question about, should you just be driving organic traffic or paid ads? It works really well for both, because with organic traffic, one of the things about a quiz is it's quite easy to get it reshared. So if you're telling somebody something insightful about themselves, how many times have you seen people reshare BuzzFeed quizzes?
Yeah.
They do. So if you make it easy for them to reshare their results, if those results are really poignant to them, they'll reshare it. Friends of theirs will see it. Other colleagues will see it. Other people with similar issues will see it. So, I mean, that's one way of driving organic traffic.
I'll jump in there. I just had an idea there. Because I'm a Facebook group guy, I'm like, maybe I could do that. Yeah. Well, maybe maybe I do a quiz, and maybe one of the things is, hey, share this on the Course Creator Community Facebook group, and then it's just every week there's someone will share it, and then and then people are going to be like, all these other people, I got to get in this quiz, So it can be a good way to, if you've got a Facebook group and you don't have everyone's email there, or you want to get more specific. Even you mentioned a good point, market research. That could be a good way for me to be like, all right, how can I, and actually I'll jump on, I like the email segmentation, because not only are you sending people really targeted emails, it'll probably drop your unsubscribe rate, because it's like, now it's like, let's say you were going to send out, you send out 3 emails a week, and it's on, 3 emails a week and one top. I'll just use myself as an example. Let's say, for example, I'm going to send out 3 emails a week on how to grow your Facebook group. But maybe I know that half the people on my list aren't interested in a Facebook group. If I send that to everyone on my list, the people that aren't interested again, even though I've got other stuff that can help them, this guy's talking about a Facebook group, unsubscribe. But if I know that I'm only sending this to the people that are tagged Facebook group, my open rates are going to be higher, my unsubscribe. And then the next week, if I send something more about selling your course via Facebook ads, okay, great. I'll just send it to these people here. So I love that. Yeah, and actually, sorry. Can I jump on a second? Well, just before I forget this, if you're a new course creator, I think this is powerful as well, because you do that quiz, and then that can be your sales. A couple of things. A, it can be your sales page, all the things that people are typing for or entering for their why you're not visible or whatever. That's your sales page. If you know that 9 out of 10 people are saying, because I'm shy, okay, you're going to learn how to overcome shyness. The next thing is whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, that's the next bullet point there. And even if it's just, I think it's great for, if you haven't created your course, it's just a great way to get market research too.
Oh, definitely. I would 100% agree with that. And you're getting market research at the same time as getting traffic, which is, there's nothing else out there that does the same thing. And specificity and really, really knowing and understanding your audience is just so powerful, because as you say, it gives you so many things. It allows you to really understand your audience, for starters. And for those people that do already know their audience, your big overriding question, that generic topic that I spoke about at the beginning, which is going to be the lead in to your quiz, you should know that by the questions your audience ask you on a regular basis. So the first place you go for inspiration is something like your FAQs. If you know you're getting asked questions all the time, or that there is something that, if you've got a Facebook group like you have, if there's something that people ask you about all the time or talk about all the time, or if there is a topic you've done a live on that has particularly hit a raw nerve, that could potentially make a really good quiz topic. And then you expand on it from there. You break it down into those other elements as well. But it's huge for market research. And the sooner you can actually get a quiz out there, the better, on all fronts, because you just learn so much. Don't get me wrong. Again, done is better than perfect. Don't procrastinate over it, because you will change it. And exactly the same as we said about your first course. Your first quiz will be crap. It will take you a while to, really iron out the kinks and to get it to a point where it's converting well. But the other good thing about that is, unlike other lead magnets, when you go to a landing page of, let's say, a cheat sheet, and it's not converting very well, it's very hard to find out where the leak in the bucket is. You don't, you can't test it. Whereas with a quiz, you can go in the back end of your quiz platform and go, oh, they're all dropping off at question number 7. They obviously don't like question number 7. So let's change question number 7 and see if that makes a difference. Do you see what I mean?
Good.
It's much, much easier. And then obviously you can, if they're just not taking it in the first place, you know that probably that question you're asking isn't actually hitting the right nerve. It's not quite getting to those pain points. So there's so much easier ways to be able to understand where things are falling down or where they need tweaking and changing. And when you do that, my biggest piece of advice, only ever change one thing at a time, because otherwise you don't know which thing it was that was causing the problem in the first place. So don't be tempted, if there's a couple of questions where the drop-off is occurring, don't be tempted to change them all at once, one thing at once. Test that, see what happens, go back and do it again. So it's quite easy to do that.
Love that. Okay. And paid, does it work Facebook ads as well, Kylie, or is it more a warm audience thing?
Oh no, this is where the gold comes in. So Facebook ads, running quiz ads is the cheapest kind of ad you can possibly run. So when we were doing it for our digital course company, and I'll use that as the example because obviously it's relevant to your audience, we have a quiz running called What's Your Hidden Wedding Planner Talent? Now, there's a few things going on there with that headline, curiosity based, and the words hidden and talent work really well.
Yes.
So there's a few things going on there. But our cost per lead is down at 10 cents per lead.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say $10, and I'm like, I can do about $10. That's not great, but 10 cents.
Yeah. I can even show you a screenshot, and I do in my boot camp. I show people a screenshot of my Facebook ad account so they can actually see what I'm talking about.
That's crazy.
It is insane.
I'm sold. I'm doing a boot camp. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get off this call. I'm going to try and do one on my own. It's going to be crap. And then I'm going to message you and be like, Kylie, get me in your program or teach me something. Yeah. But wow. Now, okay. Is that normal though, Kylie? Or is it just that you've got the audience unpacked? Say if a newbie was to do a Facebook ad with a okay quiz, what would you say an average rate would be there for an ad?
You can absolutely get it down to between $1 and $1.50 without too much problem. To get it down in the way I have, yes, you've got to know your audience. You've got to remember, I've had that quiz out there for a couple of years now, but this is what I mean. I don't do anything with that quiz. It's been like that for about 3 years now. It's the same quiz. It just goes on autopilot. And I think in the last 18 months, we just hit 14,000 leads that have gone through that quiz. So it's insane the amount of traffic it generates. And wedding planning is quite a niche area. It's not like it's, hugely popular, but we get a lot of people through that quiz. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things going on there. You've got to know how to create a clickable headline. And that's no different really to email subject lines, to blog post titles. We all know that the subject line or the headline is the thing that catches people's attention. So that is the thing that you don't be tempted to skip over that. And also, I always say to people, I would love to see you come up with a minimum of 5 different topic titles. Just purely because you've got to test them. And it's often the one you don't think will work is the one that does work.
So let me just get my head around that, Kyle. Are you saying 5 different quizzes, 5 different complete oh, okay.
No. I'm saying 5 different versions of the title of the quiz. So where I told you mine was, what's your hidden wedding planner talent? We trialed 4 other versions of that, which didn't do as well.
And that one got all the leads.
It did. And we also tested it in our Facebook group as well. So we went into our Facebook group and said, we're thinking of creating a quiz. Which title would appeal to you the most? And that one won hands down. So it was interesting to always ask your audience. They're the people you're selling to. So they're going to know better than you do what it is they're thinking and what's going to appeal to them. Your audience are gold. This is why quizzes work so well, because it's your audience telling you what it is they want, telling you what it is they're struggling with, but in a fun way, in a way that makes them want to give you that information. And that's the important part here. And your questions, Now, your questions aren't the first thing you do. Actually, your results are the first thing you do, because you can't know what questions to ask until you know what the outcomes are going to be.
Yeah,
So you start at the end and work your way backwards. But I will just give you a little bit of detail about questions. So you have 3 different types of questions. You have what we call your diagnosis questions. You have your non-diagnosis questions, which are purely there for fun and fluff. And then you have your visualization questions. So your diagnosis questions are the ones that are going to give you that juicy information. So they're the ones that are going to give you the gold. They are the important ones. So this is where you're using the answers from those questions to segment your audience. And you would usually have a good 4 or 5 of those. If you want quality information, you need to make sure you're using a good 4 or 5 of those.
Quick question here, Kylie. When and I know the answer is probably going to be it depends, but when I get that person into my CRM, into my active campaign, am I able to tag them with the answers to all of those diagnosis questions, or do they only get okay, great. It's not just, hey, you're the...
You can choose. So for example, I mean, you have to have the right quiz platform, obviously. But you can choose which questions you map across. So you create custom, for example, in Active Campaign, you would create custom fields. So you would create a header that was called quiz. Then you would create custom fields underneath that and decide which questions are important to you to map across. Now, I bring all mine across just because sometimes I want to do the fun questions. So the fun questions, you've got to remember, this quiz is supposed to be fun. As well as being informative, you've got to keep them engaged. So I usually would plant a fun question in around question 3 or 4 and another fun one in around 7 or 8, because I'm keeping their attention. So when I say fun, I might use something like, which of these 4 anthems could be your business anthem type thing? It might be, I rule the world, or, I want to break free, or, whatever the hell it might be. And this will be dependent upon your audience and what have you. I'm an ABBA fan, so naturally all mine are ABBA based. That's just me. And another one you might be, out of these pictures, which one can you visualize working from the most, which would be your perfect office scenario. And it might be somebody sat on the beach with a laptop, somebody in a cafe, it could be anything. They're just fun questions. They don't really mean anything. They don't, empower you with knowledge, but they keep the person taking it engaged. And at the end of the day, you can still bring into that email, oh my God, your anthem is Super Trooper. You are a dancing queen, or, whatever it might be.
You could even get funny with that, where it's like,
of course,
when you're sending your email, you can insert a field there, right? Where it could be, hey, Kylie, you're getting this because you're insert answer to question 2. Even though it could be the same email to everyone, I'm just saying, you're getting this email because you like ABBA, or you're getting this email because you like, Bon Jovi or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. You can have fun with it, because the same email will go out to everybody, but based on that custom field will depend on how it's pre-filled. Now, one thing, always remember to test the emails. Test to make sure those custom fields are working. But then there's one final question type that you would use, and that's your visualization question. So what you're also wanting to do, it's a little bit of manipulation here, is you want to try and get your lead to imagine what life with your course would be like. So remember, the reason you started your business, the reason you're launching your course, is because it solves a problem. Your client has a problem, you are the solution. So you want to try and get them to visualize what that would be like. So there's always a couple of more deep-rooted questions in there. One way of doing this might be, if you had an extra $1,000 in your pocket and you were able to spend it, what would you spend it on, for example? And you can give them different ideas, which all relate back to you in one way, shape, or form. It's about what would life look like if you were no longer shy, if you were able to find the words, and then so you're getting them to visualize what that would be like. I'm not shy anymore. I know what to say now. So you're planting that seed, but in a very, very, very subtle way. So those are your visualization questions as well. So it's diagnosis, non-diagnosis, which is fun and fluff. That's my F&F, fun and fluff. And you've also then got your visualization questions as well. So
Wow.
Lots going on there. Lots to think about.
Oh, so good. Yes. And I recommend everyone listening, watch this, 2 or 3 times over, but also go and check out Kylie's quiz to start with. I'll put it down below. And
Yeah,
also check out,
absolutely.
and also check out her programs as well. I'll put all the links down below. So, okay, that gives me a really good picture. I'm super excited. I'm going to try it. It's late over here in Australia, so I'll get something together tomorrow. What software wise, Kylie, what do I use there? I'm guessing there's specific softwares that are quiz softwares and that type of thing.
Yeah, there's quite a few that are rearing their ugly heads now. There's obviously, like anything, when something becomes more mainstream, there's more options around. I've tested a lot of them. The one I use all the time is one called Interact.
Okay.
So the reason I use that is because it plays nicely with other tools.
Love it.
And this is key. If you really want your quiz to work well, it needs to play nicely with Active Campaign or whatever your chosen CRM is.
Does Interact with Active Campaign?
Oh, it's beautiful. It makes me want to cry. It works so well.
No Zapier? Can I go straight from
you can. The reason I don't like using Zapier if I don't have to is because it allows an opportunity for things to break. So I try where possible for what we call native integrations. And a native integration is where you literally go from A to B without anything hooking them together in between, which is basically what Zapier does. So obviously that is an option if your quiz tool doesn't directly natively integrate, but where possible,
100%.
always try and go with native integrations because there's less chance of things going wrong. All it takes is for a snap to break and you're screwed. Your information's not going through.
It's cheaper as well, right? It's like if you're getting a whole heap of leads coming through, Zapier is going to charge you more, but it's like if I can go.
Every zap, so.
Yeah. Okay. So Interact is native with Active Campaign?
It is, yes. And that's what I build all of my quizzes on. And you know what's really nice about Interact is they're still quite a small company. Josh, who is the owner, is very available. I've spoken to him a few times now. They really support not just us quiz funnel strategists, but they have a Facebook group as well, which we're all members of, and we help you and give you advice in that Facebook group as well. So, there's lots of community going on there. There's lots of help within it as well. So I do love them. There is another one that I'm trialing at the moment called Response Suite. Now, historically, they have been a survey tool more than a quiz tool, but they approached me because they're trialing really pushing the quiz side of things, and they have a native integration as well with Active Campaign. So Response Suite is another one that I'm looking at. I can't give you anything definitive on that yet because I'm still in those testing phases, but it might be worth looking at. So far, so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Nothing's breaking. Again, it plays nicely with other platforms as well. So
I've just joined the Interact Facebook group then.
Blimey, you're good.
I could. You've got me excited on these quizzes. I need to get right in there. Price point, Kylie, for Interact?
Price point. That's a really good question. You can certainly, there is a free account that you can do, but with the free account, you can't do all the mapping and the integration. You can't do the reporting, which obviously is really important. Now, I think there's one for about $79 a month, which gives you absolutely everything. But when you look at that based on how many leads you can get, and you can always do like the annual plans, which are a lot cheaper. They always are. They usually give you 2 or 3 months for free when you do an annual plan. But all their pricing is on their website, so you can absolutely go and have a look at that. But yeah, highly recommend them. It's also not too difficult to build. I mean, you've got to understand the tech when it comes to mapping, but the actual build of the quiz isn't completely out there. It's not so hard that you can't go and do it yourself.
Is it Kylie like you'll send people straight to they'll give you like a landing page sort of thing?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
You want to embed it on your website because you've got to think, you want to drive traffic to your website. You don't want to drive traffic to somebody else's website. If you're on a podcast like this, which you should be, everybody listening, you should be trying to, put your expertise out there. Being on a podcast is one of the best ways to promote your course, because then if somebody says, oh, what's your freebie? And it's your quiz and it's an Interact URL with a load of jumbled numbers at the end of it, it's really hard to share. Whereas with me, my quiz is just literally my website name /quiz. really easy to share. Plus, you can track what's going on. Now, we all know what's been going on with Facebook and iOS and all the changes and all the rest of it. Let's not get into that. Ugh, horrible. But if you are tracking from within your site, you can have that tracking in ActiveCampaign and on your site, so you know what people are doing on those pages. So you're driving traffic, is easy to share, and you can track what's going on. So we always embed it onto the a website page rather than sending people directly to the URL. You can do that, but it's just not as effective for you.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so we embed it on our page. And I'm guessing, is there like, because I'm not a design guy, right? I like simple. Give me a template where I can just type in the questions and is there something like that, or do I actually need to drag boxes and put rows and columns and that? How does that work?
It's drag and drop, but it's drag and drop to a point where which of these 4 question types do you want? And you just click to add a picture, click to add a picture, click to add a question. It's so easy. The templates are all done for you. So ActiveCampaign, Interact have quite a lot of templates that you can use for inspiration within their library as well, which is quite good. So
awesome.
yeah,
love it. Okay, and then the thank you of the quiz. So the last thing is obviously enter your email to get the results or whatever. They enter their email. After that, any tips for the final page? Do we try and sell something there? Do we say, hey, check out this? No selling on that page?
No, because you've not built up that trust yet. It isn't relative to what you've done. And unfortunately, it's pages, not page, because you're delivering results, remember? And those results are going to be different dependent upon what outcome you have. So I have 4 outcomes, for example, going back to the wedding planner quiz. So you could be a practical perfectionist, a design diva, a savvy shopper, or a confident communicator. Those are the 4 options. So I have a results page for each option.
Gotcha.
So there's a little personalized video from me on each one that talks about each option. There's a little quick, like I said before, we identify what they are. We talk about why that's fun, what the strengths are, how they can also then implement that within being a wedding planner. We give them a little quick win, and then they're funneled straight into the email sequence. Within that video, I'm also telling them that within about 15 minutes, their personalized quiz report will be winging its way towards them. So remember to check your emails. Gotcha. Several things going on there. I'm teaching them to whitelist my email. I'm teaching them to go check their inbox and recognize emails from me. And I expand on that results page with a full report, PDF report. Some people will read it, some people won't read it, but it's catering for the different types of personalities there are. If you've got to the point where you've done the quiz, you've given me your email, you have read your email, you're likely to read the report. So the report goes into a little bit more detail, and there is a soft sell in that report. And that soft sell is to jump on a call with one of our course consultants and mentors to talk about your goals for becoming a wedding planner. So it's it's a micro commitment. It's not a macro commitment. It's not selling them. It's helping to gently push them towards the next step.
Gotcha. Now, let me just get my head around this. So essentially, on the thank you page, you're not given the full results there. It's just a video with an overview and essentially saying, hey, you'll get your more detailed report in your email.
Yes, I don't do that for my quiz, but I do it for the wedding planner quiz. So there's different things that you can do, and I really spent a lot of time understanding, and this is key, it's understanding your audience and what they're going to respond to. So because with the wedding planner course, I'm dealing with complete newbies who've never run a business before in their life. They're full of questions. So I answer a few of those questions in that report to save my team having to answer the same questions over and over and over and over and again, and to really get them to the point where, wow, you've given me so much information. I want to get on a call with somebody. It's the obvious next step. With me, I don't do that with my quiz. It's a higher ticket item for a start, selling quiz builds, selling a quiz course. It's a much higher ticket price. So I'm still not at that point where I can do that. So I give them a lot more value on the page. And then I build through my emails. So there's different ways of doing it dependent upon your audience, dependent upon your course or your product or service. And it takes a lot of really drilling down and understanding your audience. You have to understand your audience. That's the key to this. And if you are new and you don't understand your audience yet, that will become clear with your quiz, as we said in the beginning, where you're building that knowledge. And it's okay if you're not hitting the mark straight off. That's fine.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
You know, it's tweaking, but oh my goodness, once you get it to that point
Yeah.
where it's just running on autopilot and you're getting people hit and reply to those emails going, oh my God, you've just described me to a T. That's when you know you've hit gold. And you go, whoa, here we go. And you just let it run. Let it run on autopilot. It's great. But you've got to do the hard work first. And it is hard work. It is the most hard work of all the lead magnets out there. But there's a reason for that. It's the one that gives you most value. So
exactly. And it's almost like the point of difference as well. Because it's kind of like, I've been in internet marketing since 2014. And I haven't put a quiz together because I always put it in the too hard, you know? So if you're competing against me and you do that little bit more work, you're going to have that thing that I don't have because it's that little bit harder. So there's going to be less competition in that space. So I love that. Awesome. Well, hey, Kylie, that was awesome. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover on quizzes there. Is a couple just general questions I like to ask all my guests to finish off with. The first one is around course platforms. So many different course platforms out there. I'm curious to hear which one you're currently using or which one you like the best or which one you recommend. What's your go-to course platform?
I'm on Kajabi. I absolutely love Kajabi. And one of the reasons I like it is the comments section that you get below every single lesson. Our community uses that really widely, and it allows us to really nip things in the bud, and it allows people to be really interactive and look at other people's questions, etc. I find it very easy to use as well. I like the fact that I can upload all my videos really easily on there. There's very few outages. It's a professional platform and it works really well for me because I've got over, I don't know, about 7,000 live students. So I need something that is really robust to make sure that we can continue to service our students. But I have tried Teachable and Thinkific as well. And I think they are great options, especially when you're starting off and you're just beginning life, because they're more affordable. I've also looked at, because I use Thrivecart as a paying thing. Thank you. Couldn't think of the word there. And they've just put something out there, which is, I think it's called Learn. I get it anyway, because I'm a paid up member of Thrivecart, and it is a course platform, and you can actually get it now and pay the $300 odd, whatever it is, and that gives you lifetime access. And one of the reasons I like Thrivecart is they're always improving. So now they've done this platform, they will continue to improve it. So I haven't actually put a live course out on it, but I did play around with it the other day and it was super, super easy. It doesn't have all of the bells and whistles that a platform like Kajabi has, because obviously Kajabi is also an all-in-one platform for websites, that type of thing as well. So that's another one that's looking like it could be quite a good option, especially on the cheaper end of the market.
Yeah, love that. I've fiddled with all of them as well. Kajabi is the best, hands down. Kajabi is the best. There's no second questions there. The only thing is obviously the price, and it's kind of like the first one's not too bad. I think it's $97, but it's so limited on that. You get, a handful of courses, a handful of.
I can't even remember. I just know it's a large bill we pay once a year, but I wouldn't change it. So
it's about $400 a month. So it's kind of like, but it gives you everything. It's like if you know that it's kind of like, I think if you've already got a bit of cash, if you're like, all right, I'm comfortable with what I do, a course is just an extension of what I'm doing. It's the best $400 you're going to spend. But if you're trying to bootstrap it, $400 a month, even though it's the best,
a lot.
it's kind of like you might not be making $400 a month off your courses, and if you do, you give, even if you're making $1,000 a month from your courses, you give it half away to Kajabi, so it's an interesting one. It's by far the best. And if you've got the cash, go for it. If you don't, there's other options out there. I'm the same with Thrivecart. I use that as a checkout as well. And I jumped on Learn as well. It's good. The one limitation I found to that is you can't actually upload videos on the Learn.
Yeah,
You
you've got to
gotta
use another platform.
you got you got to use
Absolutely.
either I use YouTube unlisted, but then ads come up and it's not a thing there. I think I can use Vimeo as well, but I think then
Yeah, you
that's an extra
can.
but that's an extra fee. It's like, well, if I'm going to pay, $20 a year or whatever it is for Vimeo, maybe I'm just better off on going on one of these platforms over there. So I think what's
I
your take
think
on that?
there is another that as far as that's concerned, I've had some people, and I do get this argument. Some people have said to me, well, I would rather have my videos hosted on a third party like Vimeo, because then if I want to leave that course platform,
That is
it's
true.
dead easy. I
Yeah,
don't then have to, if you don't have backups of all your videos, which
yeah,
sometimes with the best will in the world, we
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
then you've got to I mean, for me, oh my God, there's about
Yeah.
200
Oh,
odd videos on there. It will
yeah,
be a nightmare having to
yeah.
download it all. So that's the other side of that
That's a good
coin. That
point.
would be the argument to that. So,
That is a good point. That is true. Awesome. All right. Final question, Kylie. This is a three-parter. So you're
okay.
obviously a mentor for plenty of people out there, course creators, wedding planners, quiz people. I'm curious to hear who your biggest mentors have been. And if you could answer this in three different ways, if you could give us a paid mentor, just someone that you've paid money to, you've done their course, you've hired them for coaching, consulting, whatever it may be, someone that you haven't paid money to, but you follow them on social, you watch their YouTube videos, look at their Instagram, whatever it may be, and a book that you recommend every course creator should read if they want to be successful at their craft.
Okay. Book, I would say Marie Forleo, Everything is Figure Outable.
Mm.
Absolutely brilliant. Now, it's not specific to course creators,
Mm.
but it's about mindset. It's about putting yourself out there. It's about done is better than perfect. She says
Yeah,
that all the time.
yeah,
And there's just so many gems in that book that you feel like when you finish reading it, you could conquer the world and you
yeah.
could do anything. And I think we all need that in our lives. So I would say that for me is huge. One of the people that I absolutely love as a mentor is Ryan Leversky.
Mm.
Ryan is the quiz funnel grandfather, I
He
would call
started it,
him.
didn't he? With
He
Ask.
did. And I've done his course, the Quiz Funnel Masterclass, which is how I know so much about quizzes. And I was
Mm.
also mentored by him as well. So I
Wow.
paid a ton of money to him.
Mm.
It does help that he has one of these lovely voices that you just want to sit and listen to and go,
He does,
oh.
doesn't he?
But that aside, that man has so much knowledge.
Mm.
Best 10 grand I ever spent. Absolutely loved working with him. Somebody that I follow that I absolutely admire and love, but I've never paid money to, would be Amy Porterfield. I listen
Yes.
to her podcast religiously. I've done most of her free webinars, and I just think she makes a lot of sense. And I love the guests that she has. And I think she is, because obviously she is all about creating digital
Yeah,
courses.
yeah.
She's perfect, and you don't even need to pay her. She does give a lot away for free. She has a
Mm.
lot of freebies. Great girl, great girl. She knows her stuff. So
Yes.
there you go.
I'm a huge fan of all of them. I follow Amy Porterfield. I haven't read Marie Forleo's book, but I follow her on social media. I love that phrase that she uses. It's just such a good
Yeah,
one.
it's great,
And
isn't it?
Ryan Levesque, listen to this. He was actually the first book I ever purchased on Audible.
Oh,
I
the
didn't,
Ask Method, was that the
yeah,
one? Yeah,
yeah. Back in,
yeah.
it must have been, when was that? 2017,
God,
2018
yeah,
or something like that. It
ages
was,
ago. But that was his
yeah,
one of his first things, wasn't it?
yeah.
The
I
Ask
didn't,
Method.
yeah, I didn't even know what Audible was. Someone told me to download. I think I got a free credit or something. His
Yeah,
thing popped up somehow. They might obviously follow my other stuff or whatever. And I was like, oh, this
yeah,
looks like a good book. I had no idea, who he was, was there, listened to it, whatever. And then like, I think maybe back when I was allowed to travel in 2018 or 19 or whatever.
remember those days?
Yeah, I heard he was at a conference. It was either social media world or traffic and conversions or something. And I saw that name and I was like, oh, this is that Ask guy, that book that I read. I'm definitely going to check him out. And I think he was talking about webinars and that was sick. So yeah, I'm a huge fan
He's
of all of them.
brilliant. He's absolutely been a huge guiding light for me, and he's just so knowledgeable, and very available. When you work with him, he shares everything. So it's been great. absolutely brilliant. Love him.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Kylie, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover up today.
Cool.
If someone wants to follow you on social, we're going to put all your links down below to your quizzes, your websites. What's your best social platform for people to connect with you? Are you Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the above? None?
I definitely do Instagram. I have a slight confession to make. I am, as I said earlier, an ABBAholic, and I love doing ABBA reels. I've managed to find ways to turn ABBA songs into business things.
Ooh.
So from everything to take a chance on me when I was launching a webinar, to ring, ring, why don't you give me a call, to get on a call with me. I have found every way possible to bring ABBA into my world. So Instagram, if you really want to get to know me on a more personal level, then Instagram is definitely the way to go. It's my old name, kyliecarlson.co is my Instagram handle. But if you want to know more about quizzes, then obviously my website is a little more serious, although I can't say there won't be some ABBA injected in there as well.
I'll look out for it. Awesome. All right, Kylie, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Is there anything I should have asked you but forgot to, or anything you want to finish us off with?
No, definitely not. I just think that I'd like to finish off the way I started. Don't hold yourself back. Don't put off today what can be done tomorrow. Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? If you launch your course, launch your quiz, and you don't get anybody, then you start again. You tweak these little things. But if you don't start, you're never going to get to that point. And something my dad always taught me, and my dad's been a big inspiration in my life. He said, Kylie, you've just got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I just think that's quite good advice, because we all are scared to put ourselves out there. And those words have always stuck with me ever since I was a nipper and in knee high to a grasshopper. So those words have always inspired me. You do have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Love it. And I'm just writing on my to-do list now, do a quiz.
Yay. I'm very proud of you. Now you have to go do it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Kylie, thank you very much for your time.
No worries.